Hey guys, welcome to R-Rated Christianity. Thanks for joining us today. We're just going to jump right in. Look, let me just announce this first of all. So next Wednesday is Christmas Eve, and we all have plans. We're going to be celebrating Jesus wasn't born on the 25th, but they're going to celebrate the birth of our Savior. So I'm going to suggest, and I'm going to put the guys on the spot. George, I think, already committed that we do a Tuesday show instead of Wednesday. Can we do it?
The 22nd? No, 23rd?
23rd. What you got going on?
Okay.
Same time?
Yes, that's fine. 8 o'clock.
What is that? On the
What do you think?
side.
Can you schedule me in, Momo?
Pencil them in.
Schedule? I don't know how you people.
Schedule.
Yeah?
Schedule.
Can you do it or no?
Probably, just thinking out loud, the next week is New Year's Eve, the 31st on that Wednesday.
It's always, it's going to be the same deal. So
Yeah,
we got to
for
do
the
the
next
30th maybe.
Yeah,
Do it Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm in.
But you
pending conversation with
Well, the boss. Yeah, you got to
Yes,
check with the
yes,
boss.
yes,
I get it.
But for me, I don't have any,
Okay, cool.
any major.
We'll do it. We'll figure it out. Because I want to talk about Christmas. Because we're going to talk about, and whether it's really pagan and the Christmas tree and the winter solstice and all that stuff and
The Jeremiah scripture. They
yeah,
use,
and and about the tree, Jeremiah 10, right, something like that.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
we'll talk about all that.
Oh, I can't
And
wait.
whether Christmas is pagan.
Yeah.
Because there's some Christians that don't celebrate Christmas at all. I mean, and they think that you shouldn't celebrate Christmas.
that's
And
true.
And they need a Momo hug. Hey, why'd you guys switch? Momo, you usually sit over here.
That's true. I seen him sit down
See
there,
that?
and I was like, I think
You
something
know what?
is going on.
No,
Dang.
I sent it. I made fun of TD Jakes one too many times today.
Listen,
He never
you
responds
know,
to my
I
book when
can't-
he never. you
Sometimes.
can't- Marquise,
He's on
no
it.
matter what, not even a laugh. Nothing.
He's on an NDA. He can't.
That's a good one.
He's not
That's a
allowed
good
to.
one.
I like that. You
That's a
should post
good
that.
one.
Bishop won't let. Man, Bishop knows when you talk shit about
Yeah,
it.
he knows.
good one.
That should be the official R-rated
That
jiggle.
is a good one.
I mean that.
The little shuffle.
Yeah.
I
I mean, if
TD
people
Jakes
look,
shuffle?
they're going to think it's Bishop Mo.
All right. Well, look, we are having a good time as we usually do, but our topic today is not a funny topic.
Yeah.
It's a serious topic. We're going
Yep.
to talk about the massacre in Bondi Beach. I guess it was Bondi Beach in Australia.
Sydney. Yeah.
Sydney. Thank you. And we have to have this conversation. I mean, how should we mourn? I mean, of course you should mourn, but man, there's people are weird. All kinds of responses to it. It has spawned a conversation, of course, about Islam. And then you had, I guess the hero is allegedly Islamic, right? And he stopped the shooter, right? And then he got shot by another Islamic.
Ahmed Al-Hamed. Yep.
Yeah, he's Islamic, right? which is great. That's what you want, right? But then we'll talk about that, and then the church's response, because you're the one. This is your topic, right, George? You suggested this one this week, did you not?
It was either that or
women in ministry.
women in ministry, but we decided that Mo didn't think that was controversial enough. So we wanted to.
Mo would have skipped out. He would have taken the package in the
my
front of the house.
It wouldn't be fair because he's got it all figured out.
That's right.
I mean, we're just, we're worried about pissing people off here.
Golly, Mo. Why do you subject yourself
You
to this
can't
guy?
do it back to back. Tongues, then women in ministry? No.
Can't.
We
Gotta
need a-
gotta
we
break
need
it
a-
up.
We need a breather.
How to win friends and influence people. Yeah.
So George, so what exactly? You made a
Yeah.
point in our text that I think
Yeah.
we should dissect.
True.
Well, I mean, we could have a political discussion. We'll save that for sidebar. But I think this is so much more than politics going on here. And this is a clash of worldviews. It's indeed a clash of cultures. And I think I shared with you years ago, I wrote in a research paper, I was trying to simplify it. So what's the easiest way to define culture? And I said, it's just the way we do things. It's the way societies do things. It's not just the little etiquettes, but it's all the glue in between. It's the moral framework that undergirds an etiquette. Every culture has a moral framework. Ours happens to be, meaning the American culture happens to be Judeo-Christian. That's an unassailable thesis, it seems to me. I know there's people who, they have an autoimmune response when they hear that, but it happens to be historically valid and true. So the question becomes, and that has been traditionally the worldview in Australia as well, and the United Kingdom and Canada.
What has?
In the Americas, undergirding it is the Christian
influence, yeah.
worldview, and so I think what we're seeing is a clash of cultures, and there is this almost this delirium in the American press, in the American academia, and I think among many politicians, and I can tell because they're like emasculated. They won't. There's been very little speaking out on this, on what's really going on. Nico. And what's really going on is this true clash of civilizations. This is a cultural clash. And so the question becomes, are these unassimilable? Are these unassimilable? I happen to believe that that's where the discussion needs to be. You can't assimilate a culture. And I'll throw this out as a thesis and let you guys chew on it. And if I'm nuts, you can tell me. But I happen to believe that you can't have a culture that's based, as American culture is, on the Ten Commandments and the Sermon on the Mount, which Jesus basically nicely encapsulated in Matthew 22, 37, 39, as being sort of hinging on the two greatest commandments, which is love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. Yeah. With another culture that refuses to assimilate that, at the center of which is kill all your neighbors who aren't just like you. So I don't know how you reconcile that. And this is, it's become political, but it's a religious, there's a religious core there, but it's, I mean, all religions, all worldviews have political implications. And so I think what we're seeing, and everywhere you look, everywhere Islam is at war with its neighbors. Everywhere you look. And that's a historical fact.
Wow.
And so maybe we ought to sit back and have a conversation at the worldview level versus the multicultural, plural BS that people get tangled up in, because it's really not about that. Let's not deal in the symptom. Let's talk about the root cause. So I think we can expect, here's what I worry, my fear. We've got about 3.5 million Muslims in the United States. And the number of Muslims have increased substantially in Australia. At the turn of the century, it was about 23% of the Australian population was from immigrants, a lot of them from North Africa and Syria. They bring the Islamic worldview. And now it's 32%. So a third of Australia is now immigrants. And in the United States, we're at about 3.5, 4. I think the number's low. I don't know what the real number is out there, frankly.
Well, we better
but 3.5 to 4 million Muslims right now. And so all I'm saying is, as your population increases and the number of Muslims increase, there is a commensurate increase in violence against the host culture. And we just have to wrestle with that. It's just a reality. And so anyway, I'll shut up there, Nico. I'm just saying, can we have a worldview discussion? Maybe have. And I don't know how the church just kind of.
Well, not
Wait,
all.
before you jump to that, I know we're gonna get to the church for sure.
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm just asking. So, ignorant question, ignorant interviewer. For just seeing
right.
some of the
Every time he does this.
No.
Every time he
this
does
is one
this.
I already even told the group. This is one very ignorant, literally, on when it comes to lack of knowledge, understanding more.
Yeah, you're dumb like a fox. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I love it.
But ignorant
so
to what?
good.
Well, wait for the question.
Well, I don't know. I'm trying to
Híjole.
Cross-examiner. My
the
goodness.
jury. The jury wants to hear this.
Jerry wants to hear.
So, for some of the discussion that I'm watching online, for those of you who would hear what you just said, and then their response would be the culture that you are describing is that of the extremist, Islamic extremists, and not of you're taking a subset of the culture of the Islamic faith, those who are extreme, and then generalizing across the board of the worldviews, and to say that the worldview that clashes against love your neighbor and then kill your neighbor. Tell me what
We'll let Nico address that now.
Well, no, I guess the person who asked that question, because I've heard that before too, is, do you understand Islam and its ideology? That's number one, because you have to educate yourself. I've said this before on the show. Bill Warner is a scholar in this area, and I'm going to borrow from him, so I want to give him credit. He goes, there is no radical Islam. There's just Islam. Now, I've added this part. There's militant Islam. I'm going to be militant about following its precepts and its principles. But when you study, they have 3 books. We have 1. The Quran makes up about 14, almost 15% of the faith, of the religion. Then you have the Hadith, and there's multiple Hadith. They're the traditions, and that makes up the vast majority. And then you have the Sirah, which is about 9% of the faith, is the autobiography of Muhammad. He was illiterate, so he had scribes writing for him. And the Hadith, in the Sharia is in the Hadith. And so when you look at the actual tenets and the principles of Islam, they are radical. There's no radical Islam. If you really study, if we put our feelings on the shelf and we just look at facts objectively, then there's just Islam. Now you can either be militant about following all of its ideals,
Okay.
or not. So I say you're either militant Islam but Islam is radical when you look at it and you study it. I mean, there's a reason why Denmark officially banned the burqa. Poland doesn't allow Islamic. Russia even is starting to limit that. Japan rejects building Muslim cemeteries. You know what they said? Go back to your country and bury them there. There's a reason why there's certain countries that have wised up. We're the only dumbasses that say, oh, and we get into these feelings and acceptance and all this other stuff. You're welcome here as long as you assimilate. And it's no different than someone's house.
that's
If
right.
someone's welcome
Yeah.
into your home,
Amen.
you have to assimilate that. And then when you look at countries, and you just have to understand, can there be peaceful coexistence with an ideology like Islam? Well, then we should look at Syria, Jordan, Egypt. They were all Christian nations, all of them. You can add to that list, the UK is no longer a Christian nation. The most popular baby name is Muhammad. I mean, and then you look at Australia, a third, that's on the, and because there's an aggression. There's people that celebrate these things, and there's people that have celebrated what happened in Australia and Sydney and other things. And you have to ask yourself why. And so, you know, and then Bill Warner breaks up, I think, George, you had shared this before to one of our studies, that there's a certain amount of Islamic people that want to perform or commit or part of jihad, and then there's some that won't do it, but they'll allow it, and then others support it. But don't, you broke those numbers up.
Yeah, and so anyone who's fact checking Nico, you're going to be, sorely disappointed because he's completely correct. I mean, if you're trying to show him wrong, but there are some real numbers, there are some real facts. Bill Warner kind of talks superficially about those in terms of data, but you and I started talking about Islam back in the Obama administration.
Well, I dealt with it when I was DA because they were trying to argue to set up Sharia courts here, and then Irving, Texas, almost set
10
one
years
up.
this year. It was in 2015.
Yeah,
That's how long we've been at it.
Okay,
and it was literally that year. The Center for Security Policy started this off, and they concluded they did two particular surveys on this, and they concluded anywhere from 5%, and they're just 5%, depending on your tabulations, your sample sizes, et cetera, anywhere from 5% to 25% of Muslims in the United States believe two things. They believe that Sharia should be the law of the land. 100%. And they believe that violence is totally justified to impose Islamic mandate of global jihad, which is holy war. If you believe that the stats are that there's 3.5 million Muslims right now, I don't care what.
Here in
pick
the
a number.
States. In the States.
In
Okay,
the United States. Pick your percentage, and that's not going to end well. So those numbers are massive in terms of the people who are willing and ready to commit violence on their neighbors to impose Islam. And I just want to be very clear about this. Like, jihad is central to Islam. Nico's right. There's thousands of hadiths, but there's only about 2 or 3 that are authoritative. And so people might say, well, maybe the authoritative ones. No, the authoritative ones absolutely push the concept of holy war. The 2 main authoritative hadiths are the Sahih al-Muslim and the Sahih al-Bukhari. Sahih means authoritative. And Bukhari is the chief narrator. So Imam Bukhari. So the Sahih al-Bukhari is the authoritative tradition ala Bukhari. And that's the most authoritative. And if you want to understand Sharia as a manual, The Reliance of the Traveler by Nuhamim Keller is the best book out there. And it breaks it down by categories. What does Islam have to say about the homosexual? What does jihad have to say about marriage? What does jihad have to say about women? What does jihad have to say about X, Y, and Z? And if you go to section O, 9.0, you'll read all you want about, jihad. And jihad is unquestionably a war on non-Muslims, and it remains active and relevant.
The kafir, like
and it is an absolute mandate. And so,
But we have experiments.
We have to wrestle
George,
with
but
that.
guys, we have experiments. We have countries that have fully implemented the theocracy of Islam and Sharia. Yemen, Saudi Arabia. I mean, just look how women are treated. And look, the Christian will talk to the homosexual and say, God has a different design for you, and He loved you, and He died for you. If you repent, He wants to have a relationship with you, and that's not what He designed you to do. And it's a persuasion. It's influencing by love and service and correction, of course. in a completely theocratic, I mean, in an Islamic nation, I mean, gays are thrown off buildings. I mean, they're killed, and women are beaten for insubordination. But I can send. I mean, I've sent you guys some stuff, but there's videos out there, and they're not secret. The thing, look, you got to. They don't give a shit. They just they are who they are, and they're just out there saying Sharia will be in every household, and that you don't.
Yes.
You do not. And this is where it fascinates me about politics and why we're so stupid and obsessed with political labels to our own detriment. Because the Democrat and the Republican should both agree on Islam.
On this.
I mean, because but the problem is my enemy's enemy is my friend. Islamic people, or not all of them, but this movement, you don't like the conservative Christian Republican because they'll call your shit out. Well, then you're my friend until they're out of the way, and now you're my enemy, and you're stronger than me because I'm a wuss, and they're going to dominate you. I mean, so this is what drives me nuts. For if you're the transgender supporter, if you're the homosexual supporter, if you're fill in the blank, Islam doesn't support that. Now they're quiet about it because they have a principle called taqiyya, where and they'll try to, the apologists for Islam will try to defend what this means. It just means you can deceive people to push the Islamic movement. But it's the Islamic movement, and there's 100-year with the Brotherhood. They have a 100-year plan to take over, right? I mean, so they will go along to get along and talk peacefully until they're in control. Look, you'll find out. I've never been proven wrong on this, and it's not because I'm so smart. It's a truism that God created and allowed to fester in the human experiment. If you want to find out someone's true character, you give them power or problems, and you will find out their true character. And so the power is once the Islamic movement takes control, now you'll find out. You understand my point? And problem. So this is the reality we have to contend with, and it's not like we have to sit back and say, "I wonder what they're going to do." Just look, watch.
And when you see, we're going back to Bondi Beach, is that it? Bondi Beach, Australia. Have we heard any? I know this. It's two terrorists.
Well, it was a dad and a son.
Okay, both of them. Have we found out motivation? I know it was it a Hanukkah celebration
they're
on the
Jewish
beach, and it was a Jewish influence. And just for, again, and I mean this as well, ignorance sake, for those listening, what was the motivation there? Because that's the biggest thing, I think, in terms of what's motive when it comes to, an act of terrorism like this. What was the motive there? And so what have we discovered?
Well, Prime Minister Albanese has established that, which was stunning, seeing how liberal Australia has been towards
the Prime Minister of Australia?
Islamism. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. And so he steps forward and says, look, we found a bunch of ISIS flags. And so we conclude that to be the chief motivator. Allahu Akbar, the standard chant. It's been fairly standard before some sort of act of violence through a terrorist attack, which means Allah is greater or greatest. Akbar means greater or greatest. I wanted to just see if who have they talked to since then? Nico, I don't know if you've seen this, but it stunned me. The dead terrorist's wife was asked a couple of questions, and she described her son as a good boy. He's such a good boy, and presumably because he didn't drink, he didn't smoke, he didn't party, he didn't club.
And son was around how old? Sorry to interrupt.
He's a grown-ass man.
Grown
definitely
son.
a grown-ass
Okay.
man, yeah, but I didn't check the actual age.
Okay.
And I thought that was stunning, astonishing. It seems to me because somehow wanting to annihilate a group of people
Based off
simply
their-
because they're Jewish doesn't disqualify him from being good. And I mean, you're not born hating people because they're different to you. This is taught.
Yeah.
This has been nourished. It's been nurtured. It's been taught. That's the point.
Yeah.
This is central to a worldview. And she's not, I mean, this doesn't happen accidentally. And the idea that Jews deserve to die. So where
But
does that come from?
Study the Quran. Study the surahs. The 9th surah, the chapter. Surah means chapter. The 4th, the 3rd. I mean, this is a very different worldview when it comes to non-believers, especially people of the book. People of the book are Jews and Christians.
Yeah. And this, sorry to cut you off. Go
That's
ahead.
okay, Dad. No, go. No, go.
I was just going to say this is where, and I think we hinted at this a little bit last time. This is where we get to, I think, the knee-jerk reaction of the Christian to pause or to be hesitant is this mindset of when you talk about loving your neighbor, and I know the word love has been hijacked and all those things. It feels like the Christian, the typical Christian, this is an assumption or just some conversations I've had personally. The caution or the pause is it feels like we must have and adopt this mentality of coexisting with Islam because as the Christian, we're supposed to be the ones that are loving. And I know I'm using this word loving, air quotes, and I'm not defending this, but this is where I think where you two are wake up. We've been talking about this for 10 years now. I think the pause from the Christian happens when it's this ignorant, truly ignorant mindset of, well, it's not that bad. I know some good, well-meaning Muslim friends and some Muslim neighbors. And so the reaction, I say all that to say, the reaction typically is we're throwing out the baby with the bathwater by waking up to this ideology or this mentality of Islam, if not leashed, will actually wreak havoc. And I think what I'm basically getting at is the Christian stops at, well, we're supposed to love them and we're supposed to coexist.
What does that mean?
And
What does that mean we're supposed to love them? Where do you get that we're supposed to coexist with evil? Not that all Islamic people are evil.
No,
but
for
the
sure.
ideology, look, beating a woman for insubordination, mutilating her clitoris because she's not supposed to enjoy intimacy with her husband. She's there to procreate.
Mm-hmm.
Being unilaterally able to divorce a woman, she can't unilaterally divorce a man. A woman cannot testify at her own rape trial and needs the witness of two men before she can even claim that she was raped.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck on that one. She cannot inherit property. She can be sold. She can be killed in an honor killing. I mean, how is that good?
Yeah.
I mean, let's just talk, forget it, but don't call it Islam.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just talk ideas. The problem with the church, and I say this lovingly,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't really give a crap how it comes across. But this is my challenge to my brother here: is we're ignorant, and then we're fearful.
Uh-huh.
If you combine ignorance with fear, you have this, and then you have Sudan, and then you have Nigeria, where Christians are being mutilated and they're being killed. They're not being killed by the Amish. They're not being killed by Mormons or Jehovah's Witnesses. They're being killed by Islamic militants that are actually playing out their scriptures.
Yeah.
I mean, and
explain
then
what fear
over and
looks
over,
like.
fear is being afraid to talk about it, being afraid to call it what it is.
Yeah.
To speak the truth in love. It is loving to warn somebody else about an ideology that is
Totally.
dangerous and damaging. And I'll tell you who's not fearful is Ed. Pastor Ed Newton. He talks about it.
Yeah,
he
he
did a
does.
post on it today.
Yeah, he did.
He posted on it today. Ball's biggest church bells. Good for him, as he should. Seriously, in this church environment, good for him. He has taken the time to educate himself, and he knows it matters because he says, if much is given, much is to be expected. And he knows, I know him, and he toils with the fact that God has given him a platform that he has to steward. And this is something we have to steward.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, they're building.
getting away.
Do the mosque data. How many mosques are popping up everywhere? They're trying to Epic City that almost came out in Texas. Look at Dearborn, Michigan.
We started talking about this 10 years ago, as I mentioned earlier. And in the last 5 years, we've had just a surge of mosques
Yeah.
in the state of Texas, some 300 of them.
Yeah.
I mean, literally. And it is completely out of control, about 48 mosques for every 2 years. And so, and it continues unabated. And I guess, step back and say, why the hesitation to call it out what it is? You had a father and son working together. You had this is a family that's seeped in belief. And you had a mother who refused to call out evil simply because the theology justifies it.
Yeah. And go ahead.
No,
Sorry.
I mean, so please, go ahead.
No, it's just I find it fascinating, and I agree with you on the education piece. It's a lack of education, and when you put your personal, my neighbor is a good person, and you project that on the entire religion, well then you're already at a deficit because you're taking this one small example of your daily interactions with your Muslim neighbor, and you're saying, there's no way that's that bad. My neighbor is a great person. He loves us. He serves us. He's that. And so what takes place in the mind of the Christian, which is not wise, is we take these small examples of what we see day to day, whether it's a peer or a friend or a colleague, whoever it may be, and then we project it ignorantly, not realizing that what the religion actually calls for.
I struggle with that. I struggle with that because I have, and I know Nico does too. I have dear friends,
Yeah.
that start out as clients, for instance,
Yeah.
who are Muslim,
Yeah.
and they're devout Muslims,
Yeah.
and so
But they're not devout
I
Muslims.
see them.
But you're educated.
They're devout to just gonna say, they're devout to a version of Islam, theirs, and so when I see them, I'll give them a hug.
Oh, for sure.
And we'll sit there and we'll talk, and
Yeah.
and they're genuinely happy to see me. I'm genuinely happy to see them.
Right.
We've had them in our home, and we've to meet my wife and so forth. My kids. I mean, we've gone over. I've taken my kids over there.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just not like that. And so the issue here is that you have people who are Muslim. They call themselves Muslim, so I respect that. But they are not practicing the fundamentals of
Correct.
Islam.
Correct.
That's the issue. I want people to hear me out here. It's not about the person.
Right.
It's about the worldview. So let's just
right.
back up here. And it's not, it's just those few extremists. No, these are significant numbers. It's not just the extremists who are misreading the faith. These are interpretations of Islam that are widely taught, they're funded, and they're defended. And they come from, as Bill Warner says, words on a page. They come from the Quran.
Yeah.
They come from the traditions.
Yep.
They come from the biographies of Muhammad. These are central to Islam. There are 4 schools of jurisprudence, they're Sunni schools of jurisprudence in the world. And there's not one of them who would ever say that what I'm saying about jihad is false.
But can we test it also? Give me the list of Islamic groups that have repudiated what happened in Bondi Beach. Because if that's not what Islam stands for,
Yeah.
if some dumb dick misrepresents Christianity,
Yeah.
sorry, your people can cover their ears.
Yeah.
Then I'm calling it out because that's
Yeah.
not Christian.
Yeah.
You understand?
100%.
So when all these things happen,
100%.
that are performed and done by people that claim to be Muslim or Islamic or whatever, and it's not what, and you have the ability, the support, and the truth on your side, then why not repudiate it? And you don't get that ever.
Yeah.
I don't see the organizations, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know.
Or how about
many
the
at all. I think
individual Islamic leaders?
Oh yeah, I don't know as Islamic leader.
Where are all
either.
the imams saying that's
Right,
not
right,
what
right.
Islam stands for?
Yeah.
And I need everyone to join me and all other imams and everybody else. Let's defend what Islam stands for. And it's not this. Repudiate them. Reject it. None of them do that. None of them. Not one. I'll wait.
Yeah.
Every time and it seems like we keep doing this. And what did someone say? Not every terrorist attack. Not every Muslim is a terrorist, but most terrorist attacks are by Muslims. Something like that. There's some weird, there's a phrase out there. But I'm a data dude, man. I look at evidence. I want to see evidence. I want to see the evidence in the ideology. And that's why I don't talk about Muslim, because I have a lot of friends that claim that they're Muslim. I talk about Islam. I talk about the idea, because you can be Muslim by label, but maybe not adhere to the strict
Right.
tenets of Islam. That's why I
what you're
talk about
referring to.
Islam.
Yes, and let me give you a standard line by the Council on American Islamic Relations whenever there is a terrorist attack. What they do is they say the Quran condemns such violence. Now, they don't repudiate the group. They just say, well, the Quran doesn't repudiate
But
violence.
other areas of the Quran supports
Violence
it.
in general. And so they go to chapter 5, verse 32, and it reads this. This is how they quote it, and then I'll tell you what it actually says.
Yeah.
Shall we do that?
Yeah,
I know that
let's
never
do
happens
that.
in Christianity.
Let's do that.
So it says this: we ordained for the children of Israel that if anyone slew, and they're talking about the people of the book, the children of Israel, and we'll get into a concept in Islam called the abrogating and the
Abrogation,
abrogated, the al-nasikh wal-nasukh, which basically means the abrogating and the abrogated, that verses later inserted in the Quran, because it was a process, not an event, by which verses were introduced in the Quran. It had to do as Muhammad gained more revelation. It was about a 10-year period, from about 622 to about 632 AD at the time of his death. And so verses later abrogate the earlier verses. They're more authoritative. And there is a tendency, there's a trend of violence increasing towards the end.
And there's
Why?
there's also an analysis between Mecca and Medina. Muhammad's ministry, so to speak, and it was ministry initially, and then it turned into
Yeah, that's right. Because they're
War.
gaining in power.
Yeah.
They're gaining a number of thousands of followers. So, reconciliation or conciliation isn't that interesting or necessary. And so they plunder because they have the power to do so. But here's the passage, and here's what's often trotted out after some sort of terrorist attack. We ordained for the children of Israel that if anyone slew a person, and for those of you who understand the Talmud, understand this was lifted from the Talmud. There's a principle in the Talmud. If you've seen Schindler's List from 1993, you'll remember that. Isaac Stern said to Oskar Schindler, he said, if any, and it was actually, they gave him a ring for saving thousands of Jews during World War II under the Nazis. And they gave him a ring. And inscribed in her ring was this concept that if you save one life, it's as if you save the world entire. It's a Talmudic principle. Well, in 532, that principle is lifted and it's inserted here and it's reworded. So it says, if anyone slew a person, it would be as if he slew the whole people. And if anyone saved a life, it would be as if he saved the life of the whole people. They use that verse to say that if you take a person, Islam believes that if you take one person's life, it's as if you would wipe out an entire people.
Yeah, people.
That's what the Quran says, except they left something out. They left the qualifier out. And here's the qualifier. Here's what it actually says. If anyone slew a person, enter, unless it be for murder or for spreading mischief in the land.
Wow.
It would be as if he slew the whole people, and if anyone saved a life. Notice the qualifier. If you do not subscribe to the tenets of Islam, obviously Christianity does not.
Does not.
You are committing mischief in the land. That is justifiable grounds to exact violence.
Wow.
And they don't insert that as a qualifier.
qualifier.
I mean, I've noticed this. The first time I noticed it was literally about 10 years ago with a terrorist attack in California where I think it was a husband and wife that wiped out about 14 people at an office building who were Islamic. And I thought, that's not what that actually says. I said, but does it have any meaning? I said, well, sure, it's strategically omitted. Because the reality is, that's Islam. Islam can't and doesn't coexist with its neighbors who believe differently because it would be seen as a betrayal of Allah. So we have to deal with the worldview stuff.
Right.
We really do. The conversations have to happen there. And I'm just asking, who better to have these conversations than the church, for goodness sakes? Because
But why do you guys
worldview.
think that very
great.
few church leaders, is it willful ignorance or is it I see no evil, like Sergeant Schultz from Hogan's Heroes? Are you guys too young for that?
Yeah, too young.
What you just said.
Oh, man. How about Sanford and Son?
Oh, that's racial. That's racial. Racial.
No,
No, but look at that.
Objection, Your
just a
Honor.
matter of time.
That was the same. He knew
gonna be okay?
Sanford and Son. How does he know Sanford and Son?
I don't know.
You're racist.
I don't
Why do you
know.
know where Sanford
I
and
only
Son?
watch black shows. I just want you to know.
Obviously,
Man.
Jefferson's.
I do.
Jefferson. But
Well, what do you think? What's the deal?
I do think that I think that there's ignorance by way of even just proximity. Like it's not even in. I don't think in the sight.
Out of sight, out of mind.
I mean, listen. Even for myself, as I'm again waking up to all these things. I grew up not too far from Los Angeles. The only people that were of the Muslim faith or Islamic faith, I should say, rather, that identified as Muslims that I knew were people of the Nation of Islam. Totally
Totally
than
different.
Any
Different,
of
yeah.
this,
Completely.
these different things.
we thought that
still,
was the
that's
whole.
all of
Yeah.
Islam.
Yeah.
That's all
No.
Islam. Louis Farrakhan, different things like that.
The Detroit
those-
version.
You're right. Yeah. and so family members within that, people that, and again, another ideology within, even though it's a subset that we within the Christian faith was also, kind of pushing against, like, hey, what is it? This isn't, this black determinism, black power, black person, black, black. And so. The only thing that I knew, family members that I know, all I know, they sell bean pie on the streets, not too far from Los Angeles, in the Nation of Islam. Moved to Denver, Colorado, been there almost 8 years. Don't know anybody in Boulder.
There's
I
no
was
Muslims in Boulder.
I don't know any.
That's a joke. That's a joke. I don't know.
No, again, Boulder 8 years didn't come across. I mean, you'd come across
that's tough.
a hippie and
Yes.
a person that worshiped rocks more than you saw any person of that was of the Islamic faith. Then I moved here, and then I got a Christian that is on fire. The church is wrong, and they need to wake up. And I'm like, to what? Just come across this Lebanese guy that just
I'm half
just
Mexican
keeps-
too. I'm half Mexican.
just
Both.
Lebanese Mexican guy that's like, wake up, the church is failing. What are you doing? I'm like, about what? I don't know what you're referring to.
Yeah.
And he blows my phone up with video after video of valid, like these, you know, these data points and these different things. So it's a thing that's like, of what? There's some definitely, close your ears, George, seminary is not teaching us on this.
Yeah, no.
You know, schooling, all the different
Yeah.
things, the equipping, church planting networks. We're not talking about this. So
issue.
this sort of, you know, rise or this, you know, and you guys talked about it 10 years ago, all these things. So it's no idea. Now, again, for me, as I'm waking up to it, the other part is being educated, because why I'm not more so full-throated on it or pressing so hard is that I don't want to be a person who is, for one, just regurgitating something somebody else said, do the work, you know, and then I don't want to come across as I'm learning my own book. I'm barely debating tongues here. So, but I need to understand. But understanding, it's not an excuse. But again, to understand, to have people who do know further, because one thing that I do hate, and it's not fear, it's a hesitation that I hate, is that when people will look at our text and your God is a murderer. He said, go in the land and kill everything. And I'm like, oh my, you take our text and you don't know how to handle it. You don't know how to steward it. You go to these obscure passages and then you make a claim about our text that you have nothing about. I'm not saying that you guys have done the work.
Yeah.
That's why I'm leaning on your information and some things that I need to do myself. So that's more of the like, don't want to be that person without coming across as a person who's
Well
done
said,
the work
baby.
and versed
Well
it.
said.
Yeah.
So,
So
and thanks
it's
for the
the
red
truth.
meat. Thanks for the red meat on the seminary. Yeah, skip.
Here we go.
Skip. Please skip the seminary.
Yeah.
Well, you know, but
I have one other thing to say about
Yeah.
that, and it's in conjunction with the seminary piece, because Maurice is exactly right in sort of what we're taught and schooled on. And here's what I'll say from the church: the church condemns Islam as a faith and a religion.
Oh my gosh.
So the church does that. Hey, we are not like Islam. They do not.
Allah is not Jesus.
Allah is not
Fake.
God.
It's not
I mean,
all
so
this.
all that church is
Totally.
in on.
like what church?
I think a lot of churches on the
CBC does.
no.
Most
Which
Christian
At the
churches.
surface level of Allah, like not even on the deep, like where you guys are going.
But most
to
churches,
say that
most
that's
churches,
a false religion.
But most churches don't even want to address it.
Yeah.
But okay, let me say this. Yes, I'll say this from an
No.
addressing standpoint. I'll
Andy
concede
Stanley
that.
does that?
I'll concede that.
Why can't I say
Here's the
names?
But let me say this. There is I don't know of Christian churches that you would look up under the hood and they would say, hey, you can follow Islam and get to heaven as well.
Right.
We're parallel. We're
as
right there with
progressive
them.
as they get.
Actually, there's just Pew Research since December of 2008 has queried groups that identify that sort of stratify along Christian denominations, and it's significant, but it's around 50%.
That would say that
50%
we're
of Christians
parallel.
who believe that there's multiple ways to get to heaven, and so and that's a whole hodgepodge of religions. So
Okay, when
it's
they-
not just Jesus.
When they say multiple ways, are they referring to different religions as well?
Hinduism, all
Yeah,
that.
that's right. There's an amalgamate. This is what we talk about. It's a syncretism, and I know it doesn't surprise you.
Yeah, no.
Syncretism is real, and it's
Yeah.
real at the fundamental.
Explain to the audience what that is, because not everybody knows what that is.
Syncretism is the blending of Christian doctrine with a variety of other doctrines that are not Christian, and then basically creating a whole new sort of Christian light doctrine out of it. And that was a problem, of course, in the first century.
Yes.
And Paul railed against it in the New Testament, except those issues were mostly Greek and Gnostic with the Christian worldview. And we have that issue today. You know, same problems, different part numbers.
Okay.
And so that has real ramifications when it comes to answering
100%.
questions like, hey, is there only one way to get to heaven,
Right.
or was Jesus just kidding?
Right.
You know, so
Yeah.
and they'll say, no, there's multiple ways to get to heaven, and they do it because there's an underlying greater religion, which is thou shalt be multicultural.
Wow.
Thou shalt be
shalt
pluralistic.
love.
The
Yeah.
religion of pluralism and multiculturalism
Yeah.
trumps. Now, what's driving that? Fear. Fear of what? Being called a racist.
Right.
And that's the point. This has now been it's just been what? It's been sort of inculcated
Yeah.
in our academic mindset. And so you have politicians, you have church leaders, you have Western elites in the media who are, like I said, caught in this delirium where they refuse to simply state the obvious.
Yeah.
And so so there's that confusion. So I don't think we can say that generally about the church. But Q, let me ask you this. I mean, I don't mean to be cynical or pessimistic, but I really don't. But I don't really care that people say, hey, we as a church don't believe that the claims of Islam because it's very different. And so we deny the claims of Islam. Now let's talk about tongues. So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That happens?
And it's like, so what?
No, but
you
I
have
got-
a flair for the obvious. I think you need to go further.
Right.
And I think this is why Ed is what he's doing is so necessary. You got to go further. This
Yeah.
isn't just another religion that believes differently about God, about,
not Buddhism.
about sin, right? Or about virtues
Yeah.
and that kind of thing. This is a religion that actually thinks that you should die. Or if you're willing to pay a tax and be a dhimmi, a second-class citizen in its society, you'll be allowed to live. I mean, you can't really practice your faith in public. You got to practice your faith in a closet, but you got to pay dearly, and it's a substantial portion of your income.
Yeah.
So you can't coexist with this.
Right.
And the only reason you think you can right now, it's because it's not in the majority.
Right,
It's about 1
right,
to
right,
2% of the population
Yep.
right now.
Yep.
So but it is an existential problem
Yes.
because it is multiplying at the speed of light.
Yes.
And pretty soon we're going to wake up in a country that we don't recognize. And I don't think it's that far off.
And you're exactly right. Here's what I was getting ready to say, because I'm with you. We're trained, and I guess I'll go personal, not from the Pew Research. Personally, I don't know of churches that would accept a multiple way to heaven or a different world religion, syncretism is what we'll call it. Personally, not that I've seen or read someone's website and I'm like, these dudes are whack jobs, to steal your quote. But what I was going to say was we're trained on the world religion aspect of this is a religion that does not coexist with Christianity. They do not believe what we believe scripturally, so they're out. That seems to be enough, and it's the surface level of, oh yeah, we'll condemn the fact that they're not us when it comes to scripture,
God, false
a false
religion.
God, a false religion, but not doing the work, and this is what you're referring to, of the actual implications of the worldview itself. So yes, knowledgeable enough to say, no, they deny Jesus is God. We're done with him as a religion. But this what you're talking about with Sharia law, how they treat gays, the transgender, all of that, and the worldview lived out from a militant standpoint, Christians are clueless on that aspect and only know it from a terrorist
religion.
attack or
Whose responsibility is to teach the Christian then? I know there's self-responsibility. Don't get me wrong.
Absolutely. I believe the church should be there and the church should wake up to it. And to George's point, we've strengthened one leg, which is deny Islam as a religion in which we accept as ours or coexist with, but completely ignorant to the fact that no, from a worldview, and this is what George has been saying, from a worldview standpoint, we accept this. Not only is this eternal ramifications, there's also earthly ramifications of accepting this as a world religion. So that's the mentality that I talk about. But to your point, discipling our people to state, hey, no, don't just deny this as a religion. We need to full on object this as a worldview and an ideology as well.
But we need to resist it.
Yes, that's what I'm stating.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
Matthew 28:19, go into all nations, making disciples of all men, teaching them to obey. Well, we've gone into all nations not doing anything because we lost Syria, Egypt, Jordan,
That's right.
and most of the Middle East. I mean, when you tour Christian sites that are the foundation of our faith, Islam has taken over.
And for too long, we've only been treating it as what we stated earlier, other religions of, hey, let's just deny them because this is a false religion. But we've only done the work, not in full. We've only done the work to deny the religious aspect, not the implications of this world.
And I don't know how you avoid another touchy subject after you say that, which inherently becomes a conversation about immigration policy. And so, because then it becomes about racism.
Yeah.
And so I would ask the question, is it racist for a nation to adopt an immigration policy
This is great.
that demands that cultures that come into the country support its values and don't actually come here to subvert it?
Yes.
That's a legitimate question to ask. And so then there's and I'm going to say this, and Mo will be upset, but
I wanna hop in.
Take a
I know
deep
him,
breath.
and he's resilient. He can handle this.
You can do it. La 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 la. Go ahead.
keep them the hell out.
Yeah.
Keep them the hell out.
In the name of Jesus.
See, this is where this goes.
This is where it goes.
You just got to deal with a
Yeah.
reality. I don't want a culture
Right.
that is fundamentally built
Yep.
on the notion that they are to subvert everyone else around them.
Yes.
And so there are just certain cultures that don't mesh. And this is not about ethnicity.
Yeah.
No.
I don't care if you're
I'm
Lebanese
with you. I'm with you.
or Yemeni. I don't care if you're brown, yellow, pink, yellow. I already said that. Or, did I say black? I don't care. I don't care about that. I don't care about the ethnicity.
Yep.
I care about the culture. I care about the ideology.
Yep.
These are not reconcilable. And I think that needs to be fundamental to the your immigration policy has to align with the national interest. And if it doesn't,
Yes.
you're courting national disaster. And that's
so good,
I
George.
think that's where we're going.
But I
don't think we're that far.
One more thing.
Well,
One
hurry
more
up,
thing. I
Marquise.
promise.
Hurry up,
The one more
so
thing.
that I could just
Get in there. Get in there.
You're exactly right. And the church and pastors were ill-equipped. You just jumped to an immigration policy. There's no one near a seminary or people that are training pastors to even think about immigration policy. It's the scripture. Just teach this book, and listen, you can find immigration policy within scripture.
Wait, hold up. The church is busy out there telling people that Jesus was a refugee.
Well, all right.
That's our view of immigration policy. We're out there saying plenty of stuff about immigration.
Yeah.
It's
Mary
a lot
was
of
a
it's
teenager,
bullshit, if you'll excuse me.
refugee that was fleeing. Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Right.
I'm with you. And we are ill-equipped on this aspect of what you just jumped to, which is it racist to enforce an immigration policy for a country? And a pastor, your typical everyday, just faithful, and I'm not even going to apply ill intent. Your faithful pastor just is ignorant as crap to what that actually even means as the implications when it comes to everyday life. Sorry.
But I don't
You've been
think,
waiting.
Yeah, well, I have. And George, close your ears because
Oh, no.
Come on. This is why it's R-rated
don't
Christianity.
because I don't think that needs to fall on the church. Here's what I mean by that. Should it be more normative that we have discussions like this? Yes. Should it be it is the church's role? Where does the list stop of the church's role has to be this? I'm saying the disciples, sure, need to do the work that you guys are doing. Frank Turek is not a pastor, doing amazing work in this. The people that I'm sure you guys are quoting, doing amazing work in this. God Logic, debating people on the streets, doing amazing work, and all sorts of Christian disciples doing the work. Should it be more normative in churches? Sure. But to go to the extent that this falls on the church's lap, to go so far into what you guys are detailing when we already are trying to have a biblical literacy problem or attack the biblical literacy problem, I just
But whose fault is that?
Where
So
does
you-
this?
like,
Where
you're
does it
trying
end?
to you're
Where does
trying
it
you're
end?
trying to dump off the responsibility because the church has
no.
done a crappy job up to
No,
now.
not at all.
Because what does
Should it be more
Matthew
normative?
what does Matthew 28:19 mean to you?
Yeah, and was that
a political
was that
statement.
was that solely on the church?
It is a political. You know where I'm going with that.
Yeah,
I
was
don't-
that solely on the church?
Going to all. He's talking to believers. Going to all
Hey,
nations,
look,
making disciples.
yes,
Disciples mean
ex-
students.
yeah.
How do you make students?
Amen.
Teaching them to obey.
Right.
And so, if anything,
That's
political
That's on you.
touches,
That's on you. That's on
and-
me. That's
right.
Oh, yeah.
But then who leads the church?
But here's what I'm saying. But you don't. But I'm saying it should be you as well. It doesn't just fall on the church. Is what I'm saying.
But
Well,
who's
brother,
equipping? Who's equipping the congregation? It's about stewardship.
Yes, it is. But here's what I'm saying.
So you
should
think
it be
a pastor,
more normative?
So
yes.
there should be hands-off topics to a pastor.
No, I didn't say that. No.
That's all we're saying.
No, and what I'm saying is find out what that is as far as like the lot of different things that a pastor is going to be passionate about, all these different areas. Third most unreached people group is people who are deaf of hearing and all these other things. And Pastor Ed takes that up. Why would I say, and that's on you too. That's the third most unreached people group. Why aren't they? They're becoming more illiterate. They're not being reached.
I
But
think-
here's what I'm saying. Where does the list stop?
It doesn't. For me, it doesn't.
Right.
It doesn't
And-
stop.
and what
for me.
I'm saying is
because I
that
think the
become-
church can chew gum and walk at the same time.
Yeah, sure.
Right.
And what I'm saying is that it should be more normative, and there should be pastors that take up a mantle on this. We should see more of that. But what I'm saying is to make a blanket statement that this falls on the lap of the church. I
think everything does.
I would disagree.
Well, it's fine. You can disagree.
Yeah,
I just don't know if you can back it up biblically, though. That's the problem.
Okay, and then what I would say is back up biblically where
just did.
Well, you didn't let me finish my sentence, but back up biblically where again everybody should be talking about homelessness. Everybody should be talking
didn't say
about
that.
sex. Wait, why not? It's a problem in our world.
I think you should talk about anything that comes up in society.
I know. And
I'm saying there should be no topic off limits. That's all I'm saying.
right. I didn't say that there should be an off-limits topic, but what I'm saying is for me to now put on Pastor Nico, you must talk about human trafficking, and you must talk about it not just at the surface level. You must educate your people at a deeper level. It's a problem. Homelessness, it's a big problem. You need to go further than just saying that homelessness, people are made in God's image. Go further, Nico. Educate further. Talk about Islam. Go further.
So let
Talk
me ask
about
you this,
Buddhism. Go further.
because we can because I can answer these
Exactly.
questions and I can disagree with you. So
Right.
what topics are okay for a pastor to handle? Give me your list.
All of
That's
them.
all I'm- then
all
we're
of
in
them.
agreement.
The
I'm
gospel
conf-
speaks
that's all
to
I'm saying.
all of
I'm
them.
right.
I'm confused.
What
I'm
I'm-
waiting for you to get to the point where we'd actually disagree.
Right,
Yeah.
But you
with the
sound
disagree-
very passionate
No,
about
well-
it, like we are disagreeing, and I'm confused.
what-
Because if a pastor says it, so let's just make an example. If a pastor says it one time in a sermon throughout the whole year, is that enough for you?
It doesn't matter what's enough for me.
Okay.
Is it moving the needle? Because look, do you think the church is doing a great job
At what?
at spreading the gospel, at creating more Christians, more followers of Jesus Christ? Look at the numbers.
Right. And now,
61% of people identify as Christians in
Yeah.
this nation, and only 4% of them are biblically minded.
Right.
How are we doing?
Amen.
And Islam is just marching in. So what I'm saying is, yes, we do have to get better at the things you're talking about, but this is something this is an existential threat. First,
Amen.
not just to the church, but to the country. Because all you got to do is look at all the other countries that have lost their way, lost their culture. Ask is Christianity thriving in Egypt? Or Syria, or Jordan. Or how about Australia? It's thriving in Australia, right? Nope. It's thriving in the UK? The king and the queen and the in charge of the church, they're not doing. He's over here talking about Assalamu alaikum and all this. King Charles is a wuss, and I tempered myself because you guys are on here. But I mean, it's a joke. I mean, we were losing the battle. All I'm saying is, I think what we're saying is, that's a topic that, yes, you can't handle all of them, but the church has to make decisions. They already don't want to talk about marriage and gay marriage. They already want to talk about abortion because that might offend somebody and stop the tithing or the giving. They don't want to talk about this because they don't want to offend somebody. They want to be called names. They don't want to be canceled. But you're not going to be talking about shit if you don't handle this one. I promise you that. This is such a serious topic, and everybody's a lot of people been yelling. And all we're saying is there's no topic off the table.
Amen.
And at different seasons, this topic is going to be more important or more prevalent. And then, of course, you adjust. You don't do a sermon where you do all 80 topics every week, but you should address it. And it doesn't matter what I think it's okay. I want to be obedient to Christ. We're heralds for Christ, right? Paul says that we're heralding the word of Christ.
Right.
The hear ye, the King Jesus says this. And part of that is to make more disciples and to stop the inflection of deceit and harm on other people, right? Because we're supposed to love our neighbor. And so part of that is speaking out in correction, not ill intent, but correction against Islam or any ideology that sets itself up against Christ.
Right.
They don't apologize for doing it. We can't. And I just think it sounds like, I know your heart. It sounds like it's an easy spill. Like, I can't do it all, Nico. Which one do you approve? Like a defensive mechanism. Well, if you have to, I put in a list since you've been educating yourself. Where do you think this militant Islamic movement is on that list of importance?
For me personally,
For the church, because it doesn't matter what we think.
Again, I'm not going to make the blanket statement across the board for the church.
Okay.
Because for me, if a church in Wyoming with 30 members and there's a pastor who's faithfully walking through the book of Isaiah for the entire year and he never mentions Islam, I'm not saying that person is failing the gospel, not moving the needle. What I'm saying is that there's going to be things that are nothing that is off limits at all. This is why it's an ecosystem. This is why it's everyone. It takes all. That's why I'm saying that there's going to be passion in other pulpits that there's not a passion for in other pulpits. What I'm saying is, as it is growing, as it is something that we're becoming aware of, I already said it needs to become more normative. People need to take up this mantle more within the church. I'm still not going to make the statement that churches need to be talking about.
How did the Christian church do in your analysis in Dearborn, Michigan?
I didn't do any analysis on Dearborn, Michigan.
Well, we need to, because Dearborn, Michigan is Islamic now. They have a completely Islamic council. They do the Islamic chant in public, which it was against city ordinance, and they changed it. And the Islamic mayor told the Christian that said, can we not name a street after a terrorist? And he says, I will celebrate the day you leave this, get out of here, and kicked him out of the meeting. And you don't think the church is next? So the Christian church has zero influence in Dearborn, Michigan. You don't think that can't happen in San Antonio, Texas?
I think it's a significant departure from actually the history of this entire nation. And I do think it is a Great Commission issue because ultimately what's at issue there is stewardship. This
For all
isn't.
believers.
This isn't.
Yes.
This isn't
Amen.
right. This isn't Paul's ecosystem, right, under Nero. This is a constitutional republic. And so I think the church ought to be leading as stewards of this wonderful gift that we've been given, right? We ought to be stewards, and what's the best way to be stewardly if you have the platform? There's tons of churches outside of the 30-member church in Wyoming. I'm not looking at them. I'm looking at the hundreds of churches that have considerable coffers financially and have substantial platforms,
Right, and now you're talking
online and
about the
otherwise.
1%.
Hundreds of. I don't even need to go to Wyoming, brother.
Right. You're talking about the 1% though.
What? How do you mean?
The average church is
We're
about
talking
70
about
members.
Hold up, we're
not full of coffers.
I know, brother,
Okay,
but
so
we're talking about moving the needle, right? That's the
Amen,
question that you
yes.
asked. I mean, we can talk about the
But
guy in
when you
Wyoming
talk
if you
about
want.
that's when you talk about pastors, when you talk about where it falls, I think it helps to be specific rather than just saying
We
the
can't be specific because
You
we don't know
just
every
did.
single pastor.
But you
and,
just
and the
did. You
guy
said,
in
"I'm
Wyoming with
talking
30
about-"
members is hypothetical.
Right,
So I
and
want to
you
talk.
just said I'm talking about the 100 with deep coffers.
I'm
that's being
talking
specific.
about. All right, I'll tell you what. Pick a church or pick a state, and the same issue happens. We have utter silence, and the church ought to be leading the national conversations on things that are having real and existential impact on people's lives. And everywhere you look, where this problem exists, which is now global. Okay, you have people's fingers being separated from their hands and their heads being separated from their necks. This is a real issue. People are dying to the tunes of thousands.
7,000 in Nigeria.
And so
Christians.
and what happened
Christians.
in Sydney, what happened in Sydney on Bondi Beach is not a bug. It's a feature. And it's becoming a significant problem in the United States. And now because we're paying attention, we're realizing, oh my goodness, it's not just the Somalis in Minnesota. This is in Michigan. It's in New York. It's in deep
Texas.
red Texas. It's in California. And the fraud isn't just there. That's how stupid we are. We won't talk about racism, so we'll sit back in the name of Jesus and allow ourselves to get ripped off. Because somehow, somewhere, in some universe, that's really compassionate to do that. Right? I can't, it's stunning to me that the church sits by and watches these injustices at every level and doesn't say anything.
I mean, it's
As
just
a whole.
And that's all we're
is.
saying, Mo. We're not
Right, I know,
saying
and
that it should be
seems
all we
very-
talk about.
Right,
But we talk
in
about
the same way that you would talk in such extreme hyperbole. I'm saying pull it back some.
But I'm not talking in hyperbole at all.
No church, they're full of silence. You are.
Oh my goodness.
Well,
brother.
that's a little bit
If we
hyperbole.
can't speak in
Okay.
generalizations,
Okay, and let me also
give
talk.
me
do I
the
have
list
to
of the church
qualify
leaders.
that I'm
Also talk-
generalizing?
No,
Okay.
but can I also talk in generalizations that the church does talk about the gospel or the church does push back? You're going to push back against what I just
No,
said.
brother, we're trying to be. I'm confused. I'm
just want
genuinely
I want the
confused. I want to
list.
make sure I'm not arguing an argument you're not making. I hope that we would understand in context that I'm generalizing.
Right.
To the church in general. I realize that there's people somewhere. What I'm saying is,
Yeah, see, go with the jab.
Well,
Go ahead,
no,
go with
but
the jab.
we're
Right,
elevating your
the jabs
church.
are fine.
Ed.
I'm just saying. I want for the listener to also hear that it's not the deafening silence, the none. I know you know this
on this
but for
issue. That's all I'm saying.
Give
On
me-
this
can you
particular
name
issue.
5 churches?
I could
Besides
if you want.
CBC. Besides CBC, name me
I
5.
told John Bevere.
John Bevere's talking about Islam?
Oh, at a heavy level.
Good.
Yeah, no, he is,
Excellent.
he is, he is.
John Bevere.
I'm pleasantly surprised.
Said
Okay.
Ed.
Who?
Said-
I said
said
besides Ed, yeah. But okay, Ed, I'll give you Ed.
Yeah, Josh Howerton.
Who's Josh Howerton?
Out of Lake Point in
in
Dallas.
Lakewood.
Excellent.
He goes crazy about
Mark
it.
Driscoll, Salo's favorite.
Okay.
Charlie Kirk's pastor.
Charlie Kirk's
I
pastor.
don't know. I just did that. I'm sorry. I said a joke. I
There
said
are
a
a
joke.
couple of them out there for sure. Charlie Kirk's pastor.
But I don't know.
Yeah. There are a lot. Many of them are waking up. I can.
They're waking up.
Yes.
There-
I can find you a list that
That's-
can reach
Well,
100 if you
well,
want me to.
My point is, for you to have to think about, and you got 5, so you and I gave you Ed, so you really had 4. But what I'm saying is, it should be this. We should be talking about it more often. That's it.
I know, but
And-
then
and-
I start with it should be talked about more. It should
But
be
I-
more
I guess I'm
normative.
trying to
It should
understand
be more. More pastors should take up this mantle.
Well, why are you defensive about it?
And I don't.
Because, well, it's more so for the listener to hear that it's not just as hyperbole and jabs that we're taking at the table, that there's not zero and the silence and there's none and no one wants to say anything and all are fearful and all are ignorant. I want to scale back some in the conversation to say that there is needles that are being moved. There are pastors that are waking up to the conversation, and that there is, and for me to also insert to say, again, like I said, for some of those pastors who don't need to, who feel the call or feel led to have 3 major problems that are happening in their city and in those things, and none of them are Islam, the 30 member church in Wyoming, and he's walking through Isaiah. Again, I'm not taking a slight at him.
Sure, but is it fair to say that this is a recent wake up then?
Of course.
Okay. Well, then,
I think so.
and
I
that's
would say
fine.
so.
And that's fine. I mean, we'll do. The bottom line is it's a call to action. And so,
Amen.
and if you want to caution on the generalization George was talking about, let's apply his analysis to less than 3 years ago. Because we got here from, I'm a root cause guy. How did we get here? How did we get from 92% of Americans identifying as Christians, where their commitment is another discussion, on the Billy Graham days and even before, way before that, but to 63% or 61, whatever it is, it's a horrible number. And do you think that's going to get better or worse? I mean, and what's happening there? And then the biblical literacy is another issue. I understand that. And so when you have ignorance, right? Hosea 4:6 says, "My people perish for lack of knowledge." And so I guess our charge is, because we've been yelling at this, so extend some grace. It's one of the fruit of the Spirit. I mean, we've been yelling about this for 10 years. I've seen its implication in politics,
Right.
in the culture, and I've seen us lose ground just in Bexar County alone. It's very different. I mean, if you go to Wurzbach.
I sent you guys a picture of one that's it's multiple mosques popping up.
Oh yeah, you did send that. Someone hijacked your phone, but yes, I did get that. But it's real. I mean, go to Babcock where CBC West is. When I was there with Ed, when we were doing there was some friendlies checking us out, saying, "Hey, what are you guys doing here? Opening a church? You're welcome. You want to come hear about Jesus?" I mean, it's real, Dad.
I'm genuinely
For sure it is
and
real.
hopefully happily surprised, because I need to understand. Just give me a little context on outside of Ed, because we know what he's doing. Give me a little context, for instance, when you say they're speaking out. What does that mean?
So I'll pick John Bevere for one. Nico, what's your friend's name? Or not friend, but the guy that you met.
Saulo.
Sorry. Him and his wife. His wife speaks at. She is a lot.
She's real. Those guys
Millicent.
are real.
And what's her husband's name? Okay, husband. Come out of Islam. Yes. You might be able to tell the story a little bit better than me. Bringing them to the church to speak deeply on it from a stance of family was murdered by.
Threatened to be killed because they left Islam.
Threatened to be killed because they left Islam. I'm going to probably butcher a little bit of the story. Bringing them in, speaking on a person's firsthand experience from a gospel standpoint, and then pressing in to say that if we do not talk about this, and this is to the church, bringing them in, guest speaking,
Good for
pastoring,
Bevere, man. I'm
if
pleasantly
we do
surprised.
not wake up to this, then this is a major problem, and they, meaning those within the Islamic faith, they are preying on our silence of this conversation. They are preying on us politically, moving away from the church, politically staying in a place of rub each other's back and let's just be kumbaya. They're preying on that. So, and again, I'm picking up these cues from watching that at a church. So when just as one example, very large church, very large reach, international reach of one of the biggest.
Pleasantly
We talk about
surprised.
the 1%.
Pleasantly
one of the
surprised.
biggest.
That's great. I didn't know that about John
churches and the massive reach. So I just as one person saying, do this and no holds barred, like to a point where they're going pretty far. So yeah, and that's one. Howerton is another. So there are people that are seeing the same thing. And again, to the point that you guys are making from a political standpoint, a disciple. This is one of those things that I'm also saying it's a both and a disciple in the community. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk, who was talking and raising awareness about this. But for me, I firmly believe that there's going to be tons of reach from people that are in the marketplace, that are doing what you guys are doing, that are doing what on the schools, on the campuses. So it's not to absolve at all of responsibility or of conversation. It needs to be more normative.
I appreciate that. I remain skeptical. 3,000 people dead on September 2001. We've had hundreds of Islamic attacks since, thousands more dead. And you name 4 people.
Skeptical of what?
Hold on. I'm just saying, this is my view on it. And I'm skeptical that this matters to the church as a whole, to the church as an ecclesiastical body, a body politic in the United States.
Yeah.
I am very skeptical that this matters. And part of the reason is because the church isn't unified on this. And that's always a positive, as we know, when we bring a movement together. So there isn't unity on this issue. That's the problem. There's confusion.
But what is there unity on fully in the church? I'm not trying to poke holes, but like, dude, there's so much that we can't get it together on multiple things within the church. So I just don't see that as a metric of we're not unified on it. No, we're not.
Okay, well, let me explain. So Christian particularism, I can see that there wouldn't be unity on that because most people don't even know what that means.
Right.
All right. Even though that's fundamental. Those are fundamental tenets to Christian doctrine. The
Yes.
particulars of Christianity,
Yes.
essential Christian doctrines, right?
Yes.
Just saying that, this is something I actually learned outside, and I didn't go to seminary, outside of School of Theology and Philosophy. So I learned that in the church. That term. Okay, I would expect that there would be some disconnect on that.
For sure. I'm with you.
But what the hell is there to be disconnected on Islam? I mean, I'm a little
Brother, I'm
confused.
with
This is
you.
not that hard. You've got a worldview, and again, everywhere you have Islam, it's at war with its neighbors.
It's a great point.
This isn't new.
It's a great point.
It's not new, and it's I don't think it's particularly difficult to point out what Nico said earlier, that wherever you see Islam gain a foothold, Christianity literally is extinguished.
Yep.
I mean, it's not like, they're a minority. No, they're literally extinguished. And some would say, well, hold up a second. There's Islamic republics where Christianity is a minority. Right, but they're invisible. They have no actual rights, unless it's not truly an Islamic republic.
Right.
When they call it a secular Islamic republic, they're not running the country, so that doesn't count. What I'm saying is that I don't think this is that hard. And I think this is an opportunity for the church to truly come together and recognize that this is an existential effort to wipe it out. Because the effort here is to go after Christianity. That's the point. Going after the moral framework that really has built and kept America together. Now, you can argue it's weakened. I got it. But it still maintains its foothold in American culture. Go after that. And they're not shy about that.
No, not at all.
They're not. And so all I'm saying is this is an opportunity, it seems to me, and to step up. I think the hurdle is low, and I'm skeptical that the church is going to do anything about it because it's confused. It's confused about what it believes, and we just said a significant portion of evangelicals believe that there are alternate paths to heaven outside of Christ. You get that wrong? And my confidence level's pretty low on virtually anything else.
Yeah.
That's where my skepticism comes from. I appreciate the individuals
helpful.
that you
That's
mentioned.
super
I'm gratified by that. I've got my other beefs with the Bevere organization, which I'll table for another evening when the context is more appropriate. But if he's doing that, God bless him.
I'm shocked,
God bless
but
him
I'm
indeed, and God
pleasantly
bless that
shocked.
organization
Yeah.
for doing that. All I'm saying is, in the totality of everything that's going on right now, boy, I'll tell you what, brother, you are optimistic, and so
No.
I need
I'm
that to
with
rub off
you.
on me.
Well, I'm a little optimistic only in the sense, and this is the last thing I'll say, only in the sense that I believe it's an awareness issue, not I see what's happening and let's still kumbaya this thing. I think it's true. Holy, what the heck? Wait,
I would
what?
agree.
The average pastor does not know that there's 300 new mosques in Texas in the last 5 years. I don't know if that stat's right, or I think we threw out
that's right.
something around.
That's right.
That's not, and what the pastor, and this is what a little bit of what Mo was talking about, there's moments in a pastor's, and I can't debate this, there's moments in a pastor's pastorate in the years that he's pastoring where, like, let's just take, and let's not, this red meat name, let's not jump on it, okay? But what Louis Giglio did with the End It movement with human trafficking, that's something for him that was like, man, nobody is talking about this. Nobody's talking about human trafficking. It's in Atlanta. It's in our back door. If you have I-10 coming through your state at all, you have a human trafficking problem. Here in San Antonio, major human trafficking. But he's picked up the banner, and I'm just using this as a microcosm. He's picked up on the banner on, y'all, let's put a freaking end to human trafficking in our country. It can happen. Now, I'm not saying we can't walk and chew gum. I'm saying for him, this was the thing that was like, where is everyone? Let's
Are you
finish this.
suggesting a pastor should take up the mantle and be the representative for Islam, the whole country?
Well, 100%. I think that there's a pastor that can pick up a movement to say, an awareness movement to say, hey, you probably don't know what the heck is going on. Let me educate you and let me tell you why this needs to be talked about. Let me resource you, make some small group
But
material.
I'll give you an
all
example.
the things.
I'll give you an example. I know who Louis Giglio is. I don't know enough about him to have an
Yeah.
opinion. I know people criticize him for certain things, but I don't even know
Sure.
what it was. But I had no idea he was in the human trafficking movement.
He is
I'm in these circles.
he's the
But and I'm not saying I'm the standard
yeah, for
bearer.
sure.
I'm not. But I'm just saying I had no clue that he's that guy. So
I
I'm
would
saying
venture to
is
say he's the face in the evangelical space for that.
if you would have offered me $1 million, I would have lost out on $1 million.
Yeah.
So my point is he's still one person. He needs others. Jesus multiplied them and said, "Go out."
Well, he started the movement. This is just this is just to what Mo was saying was there's moments in a pastor's life where he feels this is the thing nobody's talking about.
Because
And
it was an issue in Atlanta.
it was an issue in
Yeah,
Atlanta.
so
It was an issue in Atlanta. But I'm not, this isn't an out because I've ventured to where you guys are on, hey, this is a discipleship issue. This needs to be coming from the church. I think the Islam issue is top 10. This should be in the diet of what's talked about. But I am saying that there's pastors that pick up the bloodstained banner on another issue that are like, nobody's talking about it. I'm not saying we can't do both. Hear me. But I think there's just a passion towards this is the thing, and I'm going to put all the chips on ending this thing.
I didn't know that about Louis
didn't
Giglio.
either.
I would submit that Christine Cain's done a lot of really good work on
Big time.
human trafficking
Big
as well. And I
100%.
wonder to what extent she's
Louis started it and brought her in.
good
Yeah.
for him. And I didn't know that. And God bless him indeed.
Yep.
I'm culling out Islam from those other initiatives, and my skepticism comes because I think that there is a dominant spirit of fear and paralysis to go after this because of the just paralyzing fear to be called racist.
That exists.
And I think that
I
has
agree.
suffused.
I
I think
agree.
that's suffused the church, and that issue doesn't exist with human trafficking.
Yeah.
Not really, and it doesn't exist
Right.
with
That's a good point.
other issues. So I think this one's particular.
Yeah.
This one is that thing that we shall not name. And the church is afraid because it's also ignorant. And they
Yes.
feed off each other.
Yeah,
The more
100%.
ignorant you are, the more afraid you are.
Yes.
You know? And so I think that there's a paralytic fear here, and it
Yeah.
worries me. It does.
Well,
and so
and
I think
I
we need
lean-
to be prayerful.
Yep,
Because I
totally.
think as we wrap this up, Nico,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, the gospel of Jesus Christ is the answer. We know how it ends.
Mm-hmm.
And praise the Lord, by his grace, we emerge victorious by his grace. So we're not freaking out here.
Yeah.
We know ultimately the sense. But things are what they are, and we have to deal with the reality
100%.
on the ground right now. And we don't want things to get really, really dark unnecessarily.
Yeah.
And that's where it's going.
Yeah.
And I believe that the church is so confused about the fundamentals, right?
Agree.
Particularly on the issue of, racism, right? And what the scripture actually says. And dare I say that, no, it's not the worst
snaps.
sin in the scripture. Oh, my gosh. I know. Sorry. I just,
tongues. I spoke in tongues. I can't believe that.
Now, George,
That's
you
crazy.
interpret.
what he
What'd I
say.
say? It's R-rated Christianity. Be careful.
There's order.
There's order with this thing. Sorry, George.
if only that had been said privately, I would be able to interpret.
You stop that, George.
I'm worried about that, and I think this one's different.
I agree.
And-
I agree.
and
That's
so
that's a great point.
That's why I'm
Because you can get
to
called
Geor-
a name
to
on this.
George's point, look at how the church handled the BLM Incorporated issue. They were feared into silence. And I make that
100%.
distinction between Black Lives Matter and BLM Incorporated.
Brother, you're very kind. The church actually joined.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm sorry, the church
got in
joined
bed
the
with.
demonic. The idea,
Got in bed with.
I mean,
Yeah.
to enslave
Yeah.
people,
Yep.
to show that enslaving
Yep.
people
Yep.
is wrong.
Yep.
I was stunned. The
Yeah.
church joined the movement.
Yeah.
I think
This is
that
in
on
that category.
Yes. On this issue, I think if push came to shove right now, I think you'd see another dynamic that you saw in Nazi Germany. You'd see the German church, the Church of Germany, German church, that Bonhoeffer was ultimately initially part of and ended up separating himself from with great courage.
Yeah.
People should read The Cost of Discipleship.
Oh, it's
Yes.
amazing.
And I think if push came to shove right now,
Yes. If push came to shove right now.
if push came to shove right now, we'd run for the high grass.
That's the last thing I'm
And
saying.
we're closer.
No, I say-
We're closer. We're closer. It seems to me, if you just look at demographically and politically, we're closer to that dark moment than I think we care to give it.
And I think you would be shocked by the amount of pastors that would say, "Holy crap, George, I had zero idea." I think you'd be shocked by it.
Zero idea?
Zero
Bro,
idea.
Zero.
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 Zero idea
Mo jumps in.
to the
Zero.
influence, the
Zero.
influx, the 300 mosques in Sharia law.
Zero.
I mean, the Sharia courts in Irving, Texas, or
Almost, yeah. There's like
almost.
3 Sharia courts in Texas that
but
have been
just
shut down.
the surface
The
level stuff. And I know you guys have been at this for
algorithms
10 years, but the surface level stuff that you guys have expressed in the last 6 months about this stuff.
Right.
I'm telling you that you'd have a host, a legion, dare I say.
So do we have a
of-
commitment?
I'll start the movement.
Of the brothers.
I'll start the-
You'll start the
I'll start-
movement.
I'll start the
Come on,
movement.
you start the movement. Look,
Start
look
the
at that.
movement.
Hey,
What are we starting? Where we starting, baby? Where we
I'll
at?
start the movement.
Do you need me to condemn it further, George? Do you need me
Mo
to
is saying,
repudiate?
can I translate? Mo is saying, I'll join the movement when I hear the Islamic call to prayer from the local mosque. Like we're hearing in Dallas right now, and in Houston,
No, that's
and all
real.
across the country.
That's
because
real.
and here's the
real.
lovely thing: there's not a damn thing because we were silent. There's not a damn thing we can
right.
do about it.
Yeah.
right.
No,
Yeah.
that's real.
Right.
There's not even people that know about Dearborn. And that's going to blow your mind. I'm telling you, this stuff is not as.
well, can we get a commitment that
Yeah,
you're going
sorry,
to
go
lead
ahead.
the movement? And Momo, you're going to educate yourself on this.
Amen.
You're a smart dude,
Amen.
man.
No, for sure.
When you get your thing on, you know,
I'm
You get your thing.
you're the handsome one and the smart one out of the team here.
And when you
I'm
do
already-
that two-step,
Oh, you add that to it.
TD.
Oh,
It's not
my
a two-step.
God.
Black
mean,
people don't two-step.
you're-
George, what's the matter
there's
with
an
you?
anointing.
Learn.
That's called the shuffle.
Man.
George
I will
Jefferson did that.
I will know more in 3 months than I do today.
All right. First quarter next year.
First quarter
I will
next
know
year.
more.
First quarter next
I will
year.
know more.
Brother, you
All
and
right.
me both.
Well, thank you guys. Look, what a great. Momo got a little spicy.
got a little
That's
spicy.
why
You
he
guys
sat
already.
over there.
Me too.
He sat over there.
Oh, he wasn't
'cause he
within
didn't wanna-
distance.
He didn't want. He knows I could reach him.
Even he
He knows I
knows.
could reach him. There's no hugging over here on this side. He did that on purpose. Momo.
Good. Hey, I know you, man. I know you.
He won't hug
I
me.
know it's you.
No, George.
And I came
hug
in-
Portuguese
came in here
people.
with a Yankees hat. I don't want to get no hugs.
All right.
No, yeah.
Thank
That's
you
a-
guys. Thank you guys. Mario and Salo. God bless you guys. Have a wonderful. We're going to be here next Tuesday. Next Tuesday, 8:00. We're going to talk about
Man.
Christian.
Oh, yeah. That's
Christmas
Christmas.
and paganism.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
You'll lead that one, Momo. God bless you guys. Have a great week. Bye bye.